Looky, looky. We got the Outdoor Edge RazorBone and the Outdoor Edge Razor Edge knives. Wanted to show these to you today because these do 90% of the work for me when I am butchering venison, butchering a deer. And, before I show you these, I got to say, I'm not an expert. I'm kind of learning this stuff along with all of you. I was a poor bastard who never had anybody to show me how to deer hunt or do anything. Never had any money to buy gear or anything like that. So I'm doing it late in life, and I'm learning some of this stuff right along with some of you. And I tend to bypass some of the traditional knives and things like that and go right for what's going to make it easiest for me, and that's this stuff right here from Outdoor Edge. You got the Razor Edge Lite. Of course, it's got a little protective guard on it. Let's take that off. It's a fresh blade, and this is a great skinning knife, perfect size for skinning a deer. And the nice thing about these is you never have to sharpen them. Why? Because they come with these extra blades. Basically, I do a deer, I throw the blade away in the sharps container, and just put a new blade on next time. And these things are razor sharp, scalpel sharp. So a lot safer. You want a sharp knife. Nothing more dangerous than a dull knife. And these are great. So just a blade costs about $1 or give or take. If you buy a pack of replacement blades, I think it comes with 6, and yeah, it's great for skinning. So sharp, and I love it. I love it. I've butchered a few deer with this already, and it just made all the difference. When you need to change the blade, you just press in this little button here. And pull the blade out. It's pretty secure. You never have to wonder like, oh, is that going to come out accidentally? It never does. When you're putting a new blade on, you push it down as far as you can, and then press that button to get it even further, and make sure the button's fully undepressed, and doesn't really wiggle around in there at all. It's nice and secure. And there you have it. Really easy to change the blades. It's just kind of like changing the blade in a box knife, except this is a blade that's like scalpel sharp and intended for butchering and doing stuff like that, whereas a box knife is not. And they fold up really nice and easy. Just press on the back there, fold her up, and there you have it. So this one's great for skinning. This one's great for skinning and just general use. This one right here, this is the Outdoor Edge RazorBone, and this one I need to put the blade in it. So let me show you how that works. So you grab your replacement blades and you pull one out, and each blade comes in a little sealed disposable wrapper like this, and so it's airtight. It's not going to rust, and you just kind of peel it back almost like you're opening up a sack of chips or some kind of snack or something. Get that blade out of there. Comes with a little protective edge, and yeah, just like the other one, you kind of put it in there as far as you can, and it kind of just snaps into place sometimes. I like to press the little divot, make sure it's in there all the way, let go, and make sure it's not going anywhere. Now this one, this is for boning. This is for carving and boning. So when you're actually, you've already quartered your deer, and now you're going in and you're kind of cutting up the quarters for, into roasts, and different things. that's where you're doing your detail work. Maybe you're cutting through a joint or something. You really want this to kind of like, you know, get down into that joint and kind of pick away at it. I don't really use a saw very much at all. My last year I didn't use a saw at all, so I get most of it done with this boning knife. Boning, they call it the RazorBone by Razor's Edge. It's for boning and carving, and it just gets into that joint, and you don't really need to use a saw if you got a good knife like this. So these are my two knives that I use for butchering deer. I basically just wanted to show you all these basic tools, because this is really all you need. You don't need really expensive knives. I think each one of these is like 25 bucks on Amazon. You know, the prices are always changing, so you'll have to check out the prices. I'm gonna fold them back up so I don't accidentally slice myself open here, but I'll keep them there so you can keep looking at them. I've had a lot of success last couple years with these knives. Let me show you a few other tools since we're talking about tools for butchering. You can't really talk about knives without talking about this guy from Hunter Specialties. This is basically a gutting tool, and so I'll use my one of these knives. I like the pointy one, the RazorBone, to just like poke a hole in the hide right up by the rib cage, right up by the sternum. And once I can get this guy in there, then I poke that in and I just zip this along so this plastic guard protects the guts. And I just zip this along and I zip right up down to the genitals. Opens her wide open, and then I'll keep on going up from there. I'll go up the when I'm hanging it up, I'll go up and zip right up to the shanks, open the legs up with it too. And this is just safer, and it protects the guts, so you can work faster, and you don't have to worry about busting the guts open in your deer, which is a nasty mess. So that's that guy. It's worked out really well for me in the field when I'm field dressing. Another great field dressing tool is the butt out, and you can find some videos that show you how to use this tool. I think you could do a better job, so I'm going to do a video on the butt out at some point as far as how to actually use it, and I'll show you on a real deer. But basically, instead of cutting around the anus and making a big mess, you just stick this guy in as far as the stopper will go, right into the anus, 1.5 twists, and then you pull out until the rectum is about 10 inches exposed, and at that point it kind of tears away from the anus, and then you can tie it off. And what I like to tie it off with is, I'm always carrying this stuff. I carry around this blaze orange ribbon. It's like a plastic ribbon, and I use this to, like, if I'm hunting public land and I need to leave my deer to go get my my stuff for field dressing, or go get my vehicle or whatever, I'll wrap this around the deer so everybody knows that, you know, this deer's been claimed, I'm coming right back. And I'll tear off a little chunk of this ribbon and use it to tie off the rectum on the butt out. So I'll tie it off so that no more poo can come out. And then once I tie it off, I snip off with my knife, and then that way that can pull right back out through. When I'm pulling the guts out of the animal, the rectum will come right back out through, super clean, no mess whatsoever. And then I take the little bit of rectum that I cut off that was attached to the anus, I'll just discard that. And I'm wearing gloves, of course, when I'm doing all this. So this butt out tool just does a neater job. I mean, I don't care how good you are at field dressing, this tool does a neater job than anyone can do with a knife. I've seen people who've been doing it for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they're really good at it, but they're not as good as this tool. So another inexpensive tool. I'll have a link in the description, so you might as well get that. And what else do I use when I'm... Well, I guess it's good to have a saw. I never use it. I used it once, I think. I had a stubborn shank where I was taking the rear legs off, and I was cutting through, and it was being stubborn, so I just finished the job with this. It's nice to have in case you need it. I just never really need a saw, but you should probably have one in your... It's a bone saw. It's basically a field dressing saw. So I got that in my bag too, and this is it, really. This is it. And then I'll come home and, I've got some really big cutting boards out on the patio table where I do the quartering. And then I bring in the quarters and I wash off the cutting boards, bring in the cutting boards, and right on the kitchen table or the dining room table, I do the rest of the butchering, making the roasts and the steaks, the chops, and all that stuff, and trimming off the grind pile. And then I'll use a mixer attachment to do my grinding and make a burger. I'll put a link to that in the chat. And what else do I use? Some plastic tubs, food grade plastic tubs. I'll put some links to those in the chat. What else do I use? Oh, of course, you got to hang it up right when you get home. I got this neat device. I'll put I'll put that up on the screen here. It's really great for hanging up your deer, and just works with your hitch, your rear hitch. If you got a vehicle with a rear hitch, you just hook that in there, keeps it nice and secure. And that way you don't have to, maybe you're someplace where you can't really put a hoist up in your garage, or for whatever reason you need something portable. This does the trick, and I think it was $100 and something bucks. I'll put a link to that in the chat too, or in the description, so you can get that. That really makes things easier. You definitely want to hang your deer. I like to hang mine for 3 days so that I'm definitely past the rigor mortis period. I don't really dry age beyond that. But anything less than 3 days, especially if you only hang it for a day or you don't hang it at all, then you're butchering your deer while it's in rigor mortis, and all the meat's going to be really tough. So that's why I do that. And it just makes it easier for skinning. The deer is hung up there, and you can start at the legs and just kind of peel her down, and you don't get any don't get any hair on the meat. And it's just the right way to do it. Then you can start quartering it, bringing it over to the patio table there outdoors, where everything's you're in a giant refrigerator outdoors, right? And it just makes the work easier. And then I finish the job inside on the dining room table on the big cutting boards. So, and it's all with these tools. This is these tools right here. This is all I use, both for field dressing and butchering. And oh, one more tool I got to show you. They call this a honing steel, and it's not for sharpening your knives, because you really don't have to sharpen these knives. Like I said, the blades are disposable. You throw them away. But what happens is you're butchering your deer, and that knife will, you're kind of taking apart a joint, and it gets into the bone a little bit too much. Those bones are hard. The joints are hard. It puts a little wiggle in your blade, because these blades, a sharp knife, of course, is really thin metal. Right where the edge is, and you can get like a little microscopic wiggle in the blade, and then you haven't damaged the knife. It's still sharp, but that wiggle in it makes it so it doesn't cut as well. That's where the honing steel comes in. So you're not sharpening, you are honing. So let me show you on this knife. And you want to get, and I'll put a link in the description. You want to get a honing steel that's really smooth. And you might think, well, what good is that going to do? It's not going to sharpen. Again, we're not sharpening. So you want a really smooth honing steel. I'll put a link in the description. And all you're doing is you're straightening out that blade. So you put your blade at 20 degrees, and you kind of, in one smooth, even motion, you go down the steel and pull away from the steel at 20 degrees, and then you do the other side. And you just do that evenly, same number of times on each side at 20 degrees. and it straightens that edge back out. So that's the honing steel. And don't pay a lot for these. And also don't be tempted to get the one that's got an abrasive sharpening edge on it. You don't want that. You want the smooth, polished one. It works. The reason it works is because it's really hard steel. It's heavy steel, very hard steel, and it's very smooth. That's why it works. So you want the smooth one. So there you have it, honing steel. And I almost forgot it. That's the last thing that I use in my butchering process. And but it's really all about these knives, these Outdoor Edge. Again, you got the RazorBone by Outdoor Edge, and you got the Razor Edge by Outdoor Edge. These really make quick work of everything. But you know, with everything else here, that's all I use. Of course, you know, you got your stuff you're going to use that's kind of unique to you, like, you know, what kind of backpack are you going to use? Are you going to bring toilet paper with you, you know, just in case you need it? Your snacks, whatever. Everybody has all kinds of stuff. But as far as the basics that you need for field dressing and butchering, this is really all you need. So I've been really pleased with this. I've experimented with a lot of different stuff. I didn't always use this combination of stuff. I've tried, you know, I've kind of swapped things out of my kit over time, and this is what I've ended up with and what I'm sticking with because it just works great. And I've had a really good taxidermist who turned me on to these knives in the first place, and so glad he did, because it's just the right way to do it. I mean, I like really expensive knives and learning how to sharpen, but it's who's got time for all that. And this is just more economical, and it's really sharper in the end because you're starting with a fresh scalpel every time. So do yourself a favor, invest in all these items. You can find links in the description for all of them, and happy butchering. Oh, and of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm just a few subscribers away from my goal, folks. You know, I'm not a real pro at this, as you can see. I'm just trying to you know, just trying to get some helpful videos out there and make it worth my while. And, you know, doing it on the cheap, and you know, without investing too much time in it. I hope you like the videos. It'd really help me, though, if you could like and subscribe. I'm just really close to my goal, and I'd appreciate it. So hopefully you can help me out with that. And like I said, happy butchering.